Hi, this is Sarah from Permanent Record Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/permrecordpodcast.
Thanks, Sarah. This is Brian from the Permanent Record Podcast, and you can find us on the internet at www.permanentrecordpodcast.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter account is at PermRecordPod.
That's all great info. Thanks, Sarah. Here's the Rocket Dudes.
The Blue Zone Podcast Network presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s. Albums that have earned a permanent place of honor both in our hearts and in our record collection.
The Rocket Dudes, Jimmy K, Brian, Sarah, the Permanent Record Podcast. You thought we were gone for good, but we're back.
We are back, baby.
That's right. We finished up a 3-part episode on Queen, A Kind of Magic. Our critics said that it would kill us to talk about a band like Queen, a 70s icon. But guess what? Here we are.
Yeah.
Episode 31.
Wow.
Only 1 week later. It didn't kill us. It only made us stronger.
That's right.
Which is kind of true. It did make us a little stronger. Thanks to everybody who checked out the Queen episodes. We had a great month of downloads. And it's kind of tacky to talk about, pure numbers.
Right.
But we hit a cool milestone.
We're real happy with it.
And we're very
happy. We
happy.
won't bore you with it, but...
And we appreciate everybody checking it out. And we thank you for listening to the show.
Yeah. So I'm excited to keep going with this and see where that leads us.
That's right. And you know what? It leads us to, last week we talked about a group that was a pre-80s band, and now today we're going to talk about an album that just barely made it in the 80s.
Right. So
yeah. We're doing the extremes.
This is our most recent album, I guess you could say, in terms of how old it is when it came out.
Right. It's only 28 years old.
Right.
And I love when we do things like this, like we act all sly.
Yeah.
Like we're not revealing yet what we're talking about. However, they've
downloaded
a file that has the name of the album right on it. So everyone knows that the record we're talking about is New Order's 1989 album, Technique.
Yes, indeed.
We're going to talk about New Order, and New Order has such a rich history and an interesting story, but we're not really going to focus on that. Everybody knows New Order came from Joy Division, and we're not really going to talk about that at all.
No.
And less well-known, but just as interesting, at least to me, is the fact that New Order then branches out and becomes things like Revenge and Monaco and Freebase and Electronic and Bad Lieutenant and the other two. It's all great music, but we're also not going to really talk much about that either.
Yeah, that actually comes after this album, really.
Right. The seeds of a couple of those things were being tended to as this album was being recorded.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but we're not really going to focus on those, even though, that's something I would love to do one day. I think as we go on this episode, people are going to realize that I love Peter Hook. And
well, now that you've told them right away, yes.
Yeah, I think they pick up on it anyway. But I do love his other bands, especially Revenge. I think Revenge is awesome.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk about them someday, although I think maybe I would only get like 3 downloads.
Oh, you never know.
Episode. I don't know.
You never know what's out there.
They weren't really all that popular. But man, I'd like to talk about them.
Okay.
Peter Hook is great. Let's talk. As a matter of fact, let's throw these notes away, Sarah. Let's throw these away and let's just go off the cuff.
Oh, wow.
Let's do an hour on Revenge, One True Passion, and Pineapple Face.
Oh, yeah.
Surf Nazi.
I am unfortunately not prepared to do that.
All right.
Sorry. I could maybe just chime in here and there, but I have a lot of notes on Technique.
Well, let's talk about it then.
So, yeah, let's do.
Sarah, what do you have for us about the album Technique?
Well, as we talked about, this was released in 1989. It's their 5th studio album. It was released in January. It was actually the first New Order album to reach #1 on the UK charts.
I saw that. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So that must have been pretty exciting for them.
I was actually surprised by that. I would have thought that Power, Corruption, and Lies at least would have been #1.
Oh, really?
Even though it didn't have Blue Monday on it.
No, it didn't. So I'm thinking, what would have made it go to #1?
I would have thought that enough people would be tricked into buying it thinking that Blue Monday was on.
I think, didn't they even put a sticker on some of the albums or some of the copies of them that does not have Blue Monday on it?
That does sound familiar, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were warned. Anyway, this was the first one to reach #1 in the UK charts, and it did modestly well in the United States as well. It got up to number 32.
Yeah, I saw that. I was kind of proud of us for that. We could have done better for him.
Well, yeah, but it hit the top 40, so that's good.
So that's cool.
It made the top 20 in New Zealand and Switzerland, and it was in the top 30 in Australia, Canada, Germany, and Sweden. So that's respectable.
Sure.
Nothing earth shattering, but very, very good. So that's how it did in the charts. Let's talk about what happened when it was being made.
All right, let's do that. And before we start that, let's just talk about who is in New Order at this time.
Sure.
Just so we can refer to them by name later.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't want to get too much into the band history, but we should at least name the band members. Yeah, that would be a good idea. So, you've talked about Peter Hook already.
Peter Hook, the main man, my main man, he's on bass.
Yes, he is on bass, very much so. The singer, his name is Bernard, as we say in the United States, but in UK, they always say Bernard.
Bernard.
Yeah. And he's also known as Barney, and his last name is Sumner.
That's right. And then on drums, we have Stephen Morris.
Right.
A guy that I was sort of confused about as I was getting into New Order, since his picture was on the cover of Lowlife.
Oh, okay. It's like, wait, who is this guy?
Yeah, I thought that he was the singer simply because his face was on the cover of the album.
Yeah, that would seem reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they've got a girl in the band, and her name is Jillian Gilbert.
And she plays keys and some guitars.
Right. It's a nice little 4-piece they've got going here, and that was the setup of the band for most of their history.
That's right. So the official story for this album, as we get started on it, is that there were no studios anywhere in Manchester or London good enough to record this album.
Oh, yeah. Right. Uh-huh. That's funny. I think they were making an excuse.
Yes, as Barney says in his book, they just had more fun when they went away to record. The band was excited at the thought of going to Ibiza to record a record.
Well, yeah. Yeah, the main reason they went to the studio that they chose down in Ibiza, it had a pool.
Yep. Mediterraneo Studio, I think it was called.
Yeah. Very, very clever name for something that's located along the Mediterranean. Ooh,
Yep.
Let's call it Mediterranean Studio.
Yep.
Okay.
Peter Hook's been writing books for the past maybe decade or so on different periods of their career. And so just earlier this year, his book came out on New Order, and he talks about this. He had actually gone and looked at the studio ahead of time before the band even went, and he knew right away that it wasn't a really good studio.
No good.
Yeah, and he said he came back and told everybody, but the positive things in the building attached to the studio outweighed the actual quality of the studio.
Okay.
They liked the pool.
Yeah.
They liked the fact that there was a well-stocked bar that had a 24-hour-a-day bartender stationed at it.
Oh my gosh.
And they liked how close it was to. It was isolated, but it wasn't too far away from various towns and dance clubs and stuff like that. Herman the German was the name of the bartender.
Herman the German.
Yep, he was Spanish.
Okay, he was Spanish. Okay,
Yep.
Fantastic. All right.
But
Okay.
his name was Herman.
Okay, Herman the Spanish.
Bernard specifies that in his book. Bernard also has a book, and he says the bartender was Herman the German. He wasn't German; he was Spanish, but he was called Herman.
Okay, and he was a bartender.
And he
All
was,
right.
yep.
Okay. Well, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I heard some pretty awful things about the studio. Honestly, one thing they mentioned. Well, Stephen Morris was mentioning that the studio was owned by the drummer of the band Judas Priest.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, and he said he felt that the only really good place to record in that studio was where the drums were kept, and that there were they had to do a lot of things to make the room suitable for them to record in. Even so, and there were things like lizards crawling all over the walls and ceilings in the room.
Yeah.
And I know that Bernard mentioned the green shag carpet.
I think he said it was like green and
Yeah,
maggots.
Yeah,
Green
he
and
said there
maggots
was
carpet.
maggoty or something.
Although Peter Hook insists that the carpet was purple.
Oh, okay.
So they cannot agree on that, really.
The conflict of memory on the carpet color. I'm sure it was still equally horrible.
I'm sure it still had maggots in it.
Yeah.
Regardless of the color. Barney says that Stephen was really the only person who really got a lot of work done at the studio, the drummer.
Right,
They
yeah.
recorded a lot of the drums that were ultimately used on the record. So I think that's sort of a combination of the fact that maybe, like you said, that facilities for the drums were relatively good.
Yeah.
And I think Stephen was just like the least
He was
concerned with partying and things like that. So
Yeah,
he
I
got
think
down to business.
he was able to recover from the night before much more easily than the rest of the band.
Oh, and another problem that came about from the studio is when they arrived, they just realized the recording equipment just wasn't in good enough shape to actually be used. They actually spent days servicing the equipment and getting it realigned and into condition where they could actually use it.
Did the band actually do that?
Yeah. The band and their engineer.
Wow.
And Peter Hook points out in his book that this was the first sign of the split that was going to become so huge in the band, because he wasn't too concerned at first, because he said, well, the live recording room is actually pretty okay. We can go in and work on songs and play like a rock band.
Right.
But Steve and Barney were very concerned about getting the higher tech equipment fixed that they would need to patch their synthesizers and sequencers through, because that's what they were into at the time. They weren't really into recording rock songs.
Yeah.
They wanted to record these more upbeat, electronic songs.
Yeah, I did read. I mean, as we can tell from this album, there are definitely two different sides to this album. There's two different styles of music, and I read that Peter Hook said that it was basically a big fight between him and the sequencers.
Yep,
throughout
that's right.
the whole song, throughout the whole making of the album, he was always fighting because he still wanted to be a rock band.
Yep, he fought for a good number of years.
Yeah. And I guess when they did record this, maybe because of the way that, well, they were all partying and they weren't always of the right state of mind to record, but also just because of how they were shifting and what they were interested in, they didn't record them all at the same time like they used to. They would,
yeah, right, that's true.
They would each come in and do a bit and then leave it for the next person to come in and do their bit. And yeah, it was very fragmented, unlike what they had done in the past.
Another change on this record from things that they had done in the past was that supposedly Barney laid down the line and said he will handle vocal melodies.
Yeah.
Which used to be the group working together. As of this album, it became his job.
Yeah, he wrote all the lyrics to the songs.
Right, lyrics, and he came up with the melody lines that he sang over top of the music that the group recorded.
That's interesting. I like how you keep calling him Barney.
Oh yeah, well, I sort of forgot that they call him that until you said it. In my notes, I never wrote Barney or anything. I just sort of forgot.
Yeah, but now you're like.
But now that you reminded me, I'm like, I'm just going to call him that. So our UK listeners won't criticize me for saying Bernard
instead of Bernard. Yeah,
and then our US listeners won't criticize me if I try to appease the UK listeners.
That's a good compromise. Mm-hmm. Well done.
Very diplomatic.
Yes, and accommodating. Very good.
So quickly, the nightlife here in this area and where they were caught up to them and work on the album virtually ground to a halt.
Oh, yeah.
And then as if things weren't bad enough for them, they invited the Happy Mondays to come visit them.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, geez. Yeah, that. Yeah, so sure they were really helpful.
One of the guys, I forget if it was Barney or Peter, one of them say in their books that the Happy Mondays became a rock group. Second reason for becoming a rock group was to make music. The first reason was to just ensure that they could get the best drugs that were available.
Oh, my gosh.
Like they were way more into drugs than they were into music.
Oh, wow.
And there were so many funny stories. Funny, I mean, they're not funny.
And kind of like, ooh.
Lots of drunk driving stories and terrible car crash stories and things from the lead singer of the Happy Mondays. I forget now what his name is. The time that he came and spent with them.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That makes me think of the movie Love Actually, where the aging rocker he's on the stage or on the live show, and he says, kids don't buy drugs. Become a rock star, and they'll give them to you for free. Yeah. So Stephen Morris, even though he was the most productive member down in Ibiza, he had a lot to say about the clubs and the music and the sound that they were experiencing in the clubs at that time. It was known as the Ibiza sound, also known as a Balearic beat, I think.
Right.
And he said that they would just play a mishmash of all different styles of music. And he said that it was, this is a quote, it was a state of mind, really. That's the best way I could describe it, because Balearic music was mad. They'd put an acid record on and the next one would be a Queen one.
Yep.
Yeah, it was schizophrenic. It'd be something really Spanish and then something really daft. It was a really odd mix, but it all seemed to make sense when you were there. And I think, and that's the end of the quote, I think that concept actually applies perfectly to Technique, because there's a definite split in the album of musical styles. There's the synth and electronic sound, and then there's the guitar sound. But the
guitar sound itself is also like there's some folk
influences,
there's some country
I think there's some things that sound Spanish to me.
Right.
And but just like in the Ibiza clubs, to paraphrase Stephen Morris, it all seems to make sense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's just kind of a highlight or a preview of how we're going to cover this album and what I think about it.
So they really only got a very small percentage of work done there, maybe 10 or 20% of the record.
Yeah, they did 2 demos and 16 drum tracks. So who was busier? Yeah.
So it turned out that really everyone says this is their Ibiza album, but in truth, most of the work was done at Real World Studios in Bath.
Right, and that was Peter Gabriel's new studio, really brand spanking new with all kinds of wonderful equipment.
Yep, and it was owned by Peter Gabriel, and in fact, Peter Hook, upon awaking one morning, came out to the hallway and caught Peter Gabriel in the hallway changing light bulbs.
Oh my gosh.
And Peter Hook smiled at him and said, "It's a real joy owning a studio, isn't it?" And Peter Gabriel just kind of nodded.
Yeah, that's funny.
Thought that was funny. So they paid £10,000 a week to work at that studio.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's crazy.
And because of that, the total cost of this album turned out to be around £450,000.
Oh my gosh.
to record these 9 songs.
Oh, wow. Was it worth it? I guess you'd have to ask the record company, but as a fan of the music, I'd say, yeah, sure.
Yep.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
And so, like we mentioned before, as it was this time period, as they were working at Real World on the record, this is really the first time that the 3 different camps sort of come into being.
Okay.
As New Order works, because at the same time as they were working on this album, they were setting the stages and doing preliminary work for things like Electronic, Revenge, and Jillian and Steven. I don't think that they were actually doing stuff for their album that would ultimately come out called The Other Two, but they were doing music for a BBC television show called Making Out.
Yeah, so there was definitely some new paths forming
Right.
in the careers.
So that, along with the regular conflicts that were starting to appear, that sort of didn't help, I'm sure.
No, but you can't really tell on this album, for whatever strife and conflict and differences they were having. I think the album still sounds awesome.
Sounds very awesome.
They did not let that get in the way of making a really first-rate record.
Yeah. And like you said, it is almost like 2 different records being made and being forced to coexist.
Right.
And one of them is the dance record.
Yep.
And one of them is a rock record, which, like I said, also has influences of other genres and stuff. And that's one of the things I like so much about this record. In my opinion, the 2 distinct genres don't really cause any problem or have a detrimental effect on this record. There's a website that we've mentioned before called thequietus.com, which always has really, really good articles on it.
Right.
And a guy on that website, Ned Raggett, says that there is a splendid unity to this record. And while I just said what I said about the 2 halves of the record, I don't really disagree with him. I've never listened to this album and found its flow to be distracting,
right,
or even to be odd in any way. It doesn't work.
I'm
sorry, it shouldn't work.
It shouldn't work. Right.
But it does. This Ned guy, he attributes that fact to the fact that nothing on this record is forced and nothing is unnecessary. He says it's it's relatively short and it's very concise, and everything has a purpose except for one thing on the whole record, which I'll talk about when we get to it. And that's why the change from live drums to electronic drums just sounds natural, because everything is so precise and pristine and
very efficient.
Yeah. I think I pretty much agree with him. I think that's a good point.
Yeah. We've talked in previous podcasts. Certainly, the one that comes to mind most is the Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair, and how there are such a different variety of music sounds on that. And some of that, I think we agree, didn't work quite as well. On this album, where we only really have 2 different styles, these 2 styles still really work well together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things still tying them together that, certainly Peter Hook's bass is one of them. You hear that in almost every song. And I think that just kind of helps provide a cohesiveness. And the fact that they produced the album themselves, that makes a difference. We don't have a lot of different people in the mix putting things together. So even if they were starting to split, they were still working together to produce a cohesive sound. And I think that shows here.
Yeah, like what you said, I don't want to talk about it too much right now because I have notes for later. But I think not just because I love the band, but I seriously think Peter Hook's bass is a major reason why it does work.
Yeah.
And I was glad to hear you say that as like your first example of why.
Okay.
Because it's very important to this record.
Yeah, it is.
Regardless of the fact that almost everybody else seems to want to exclude him from things.
Okay.
What do you think about the cover of this record?
Oh, it's iconic, as it's being self-described as iconic, I think, by the guy that made it.
Peter Seville?
Yes. He did all their other artwork for the albums, but this was the first one that they said was not, what was the word? Not like...
I just wrote down that it was the first one to be iconic. I didn't write down what the old ones were.
They were like more natural or something. I don't know. But yeah, and I think they described this, comparing it to like Andy Warhol.
Yeah, did you see the funny
thing about that? Someone suggested to him...
Their manager, Rob Breton.
Yeah, right. He said they should call it Peter Seville's New Order. Yeah, like
as
Andy
a reference to Andy Warhol's
Velvet Underground. Yeah, that did not go over well with the band. They're like, no.
Did you also see that they actually had to rent the garden statue that he took a picture of?
Yeah, they rented it.
So funny.
Really?
That just cracked me up. I was like,
you rented.
They paid £450,000 for the album, but they won't buy a little statue.
No.
They had to go rent one.
Yeah, well, I guess who would want it? I guess no one wanted it in their garden. But yeah, that was pretty funny. They rented it.
And I love the purple shade. I just call it purple. There probably is a better descriptive word to get the sense across of what that color,
shade of purple. Yeah,
but it's really nice. It's very regal.
Yeah.
Which is cool because this is the pinnacle of their imperial phase.
Oh, yes, the imperial phase. I did see that phrase mentioned with associating with them in some things I read, and I thought, oh, yes, well, that's the Pet Shop Boys phrase.
Right.
That we learned back in when we talked about Actually.
Yeah. And even though this album is going to end what people consider to be their imperial phase, I actually think, and not just because this is how it worked out for me, but I actually think that this is a perfect introduction point to New Order because it is so good and so friendly, and he's such a better singer than he was 5 years before. I seriously question whether or not I would be into New Order if I tried to get into them with Power, Corruption, and Lies.
Well,
and some of the other earlier albums that don't.
You're making a very wonderful segue into my personal history with this band.
Okay, go ahead.
Because that was the first album I owned. This Technique
first by New Order.
By New Order, yeah. Not the first album I ever owned. No, Technique was not the first New Order album I owned, but it was the first one I owned that I liked. I remember hearing Truth Faith on the radio and hearing that and really liking that song.
That song was huge.
Yeah, that was. It was really big here. It was like 1987. And I guess probably because of that, a friend of mine made me a copy of Power, Corruption, and Lies. So I probably got that in 87 or 88, somewhere in that time frame. But I just could not get into it.
Yeah. It's hard to get into for me, too.
Yeah, I still to this day haven't listened to that album all the way through very many times. Yeah. It's just not...
And I try because I've been reading all the books that the guys in the band have written. I keep trying to get into it. I just can't make
that connection. I just can't get into it. And it certainly isn't... Bernard's vocals just don't help at all, for sure.
No.
You know, the music it's not bad, but it's just, I don't know, it's not my thing. And I never did own a copy of Substance, which did have True Faith on it.
Right.
Don't know why that never happened, but it didn't. However, Technique was a different story. I know I heard Fine Time on the radio as well.
Oh, really?
Not nearly as much, but I'm sure I heard it at least a couple times.
I never knew that song until I got the tape.
And I did have a copy of Technique. I'm pretty sure it was a copy, and I don't know who I got it from. But we don't have it anymore. I know we have a cassette in our collection still.
Right, that was mine.
And that was yours, yeah. I don't remember who got it for me or who I copied it from. It must have been maybe the same friend, but I don't remember. But I definitely played that album a lot during my first semester of my freshman year in college, which is just right at the same time it was out. Well, maybe a little bit after it first came out. And I remember after Thanksgiving break, after certain personal life-changing events had transpired, I became pretty obsessed with the song Mr. Disco. And the first verse especially seemed applicable to me in my angsty, love-struck state of mind. A lot of the song resonated with me. And I remember rewinding my tape and playing that song over and over again. So to this day, this is the New Order album I have played the most. Not just that song, but the entire album.
Yeah, cool. I knew the song True Faith because it was on the radio a lot and I liked it, but I didn't get anything by New Order at the time. And so, in fact, the song that got me, that I would say got me into New Order was Mr. Disco because that spring semester of 1990 in college, you called my radio show and told me to play it or asked me to play it. That was the first time I heard that, and I really liked that song, so that's why I bought the set, so I could hear more from this band. So that was sort of my introduction to this album and Technique. That period in time is funny because spring semester 1990 into the summer of 1990, there were 2 cassettes that I had that I was so into that I played constantly. And even now, today, if I hear them, I think of Summertime.
Oh.
In total, I have 3 Summertime albums.
Okay.
One of them I talked about just a month or so ago on here with you.
Oh, that's right.
And everybody else, Erasure Wonderland.
Yes.
Especially March on Down the Line. I always think of the summer.
That's
but then
cute.
My other 2 summer albums are from that year, 1990, and they are so different.
Okay.
As I thought about it, as I was getting my notes ready for this, I was like, people are going to think this is ridiculous.
Well.
So my other 2 summer albums are New Order, Technique.
All right.
Because I played it so much that year, and so many of these songs remind me of summer.
Okay.
And the Damn Yankees debut album. So Tommy Shaw from Styx, Jack Blades from a group called Night Ranger, and the horrible person that is Ted Nugent.
Oh my gosh.
This hard rock. It was pretty commercial sounding, radio friendly hard rock. But I like Tommy Shaw from Styx because I love Styx, so I got this album, and I loved like 9 of the 10 songs on it. So I would just pretty much for months just flip between New Order, Technique, and Damn Yankees.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's really quite 2 ends of the spectrum there, really.
And I remember at the time hearing the New Order, Technique album in full after I ended up getting it. It was unlike any music that I had heard, and I remember being like very snobbish and very full of myself for like having discovered it. I thought it was awesome stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I thought I was better than my friends who probably didn't even remember True Faith. They didn't know anything about New Order, and if they did, it was just that song. And that snobbish feeling grew even more powerful when Peter Hook released the first Revenge album.
Oh, my.
I remember thinking there was this awesome band that nobody knows about, and I'm in on the ground floor.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being really upset when Spin Magazine reviewed both Peter Hook, Revenge, and Violator in the same article.
Oh, wow.
And they were critical of both albums.
Oh, boy.
I was outraged.
I bet you were.
Outraged. That had me fired up.
Understandably so. I bet if they did retrospectives of those albums, at least Violator would get better
at
reviews
least Violator.
now.
Probably not Revenge,
Well,
but
I don't know.
I love Technique, and then the law of diminishing returns kind of set in with New Order for me. My next purchase was Low Life, which was pretty good. That's a pretty good record, but it's not as good as Technique. Then I went with Brotherhood, and I could never get the whole way through it.
Yeah.
I never did, I don't think. I have now, but back on my CD, but back in the cassette days, I don't think I did. And then luckily, I heard some of Power, Corruption, and Lies before I bought it, and I just ended up not buying it because it was not my thing back in 90 and 91.
Yeah.
So I decided at the time to become a forward-thinking New Order fan,
Okay.
focus on what was yet to come, which, of course, for a long time
Was nothing.
was nothing. And then when stuff did come out, New Order albums are always good. I remember saying something about this or something similar to this on a recent show, and I'm trying to think what it was. Human League. I said on that show, the Human League albums that came out after Dare always have great tracks on them, but they never made an album as great as Dare. And that's the case with New Order. New Order's albums always had great songs on them, but they never made another album as great as Technique.
Okay. That's your opinion. Okay. Well, now we know.
Yep.
Well, that's a good history. Good stories.
Did New Order create an album with Technique that will withstand the test of time? Is Technique worth discussing in 2017, Sarah?
Well, I sure hope so, because I've got about 6 pages of notes on just this side of the album. So,
Well, let's find out together.
okay.
And let's get to the business of discussing this album.
Okay.
And the first song on the record is a song called Fine Time. We're going to give you a sample of it right now, and then we're going to see what we think.
Okay.
Here it is. The first single that preceded the album being released in November of 88 hit number 11 on the UK singles chart and number 1 on the UK independent rock chart. Here in the US, it peaked at number 2 on the US dance club play, number 3 on the US dance single sales, and number 3 on US modern rock.
Yeah, it did very well. It was number 3 in New Zealand as well, number 9 in Ireland, and number 20 in Australia and Spain. I like to give those other countries a little credit, too.
Yep. Very, very good you do that, because I never really focus on that.
Yeah, you're just like UK, US.
Yep. So this is the only song, like we said, the only song written and recorded in Ibiza. And I don't really like this song. I kind of like this song.
What?
I mean, I don't hate this song, but this is my least favorite song on the album.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. I am very surprised by that. This is not my least favorite song on the album. I think this is an awesome, fantastic, exciting, frenetic, panicky way to start the album.
I think it's too panicky and there's too much. A lot of times I'll say things like this song has so many parts, different parts over top of each other, but they blend them so well and they mix it so well that it's not detrimental to the song. I think that that's not the case in this song. I think that there's just too much, and some of it sounds just not pleasant.
Wow. I completely disagree, but that's okay. Before we get too far, let's talk about the title of the song. Let's talk about the title of all New Order songs, or most New Order songs, because right from the get-go, I have never been a fan of their basically completely random song titles.
It makes it hard to know what song you're singing.
I can never remember the song titles because they don't go with the song.
I like it, though.
Okay. Well, I know they do have song titles. I was thinking, okay, they don't always do this. So I found like several examples.
Let me see if I can give you some.
Okay. Let's see.
Touched by the Hand of God.
Yep.
World in Motion.
Yep.
60 Miles an Hour.
Yeah.
Crystal.
Yeah, pretty much everything on like the later stuff, certainly Waiting for the Siren's Call, all that stuff later on, they definitely got...
They get away from it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So think earlier, there's still a few.
Oh. Every Little Counts?
Oh, gosh, yes. I didn't even have that one written down, but yeah, there's a fantastic song.
And Bizarre Love Triangle.
No.
We're in a bizarre love triangle.
No, not so much. How about State of the Nation?
Oh, that's a good one.
How about Shell Shock?
Oh, yeah.
And Regret. They actually do say regret in that song. So, yeah. And then on this album, nothing. The closest they get is Vanishing Point when he sings, I've been to the point of no return. And that's as close as they get. And so as many times as I've listened to this album, I still have trouble looking at many of the song titles and remember exactly how the song goes because I'm just like, what is that
Yeah, I
one
know.
again?
Yeah, I can't really tell either.
Yeah. So the title from this one, though, actually has a story behind it. Did you read that story?
I did.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell me what you read?
Why don't you tell me what you read?
Well, all right, fine. We'll have a little standoff. I'll win that one. So this one was named by Stephen Morris because he said his car had been towed away. I'm sure he was out all night somewhere and left it where he shouldn't have.
That's alleged.
That's just a guess based on whatever they were doing at the time. Anyway, he had to remind himself to go and pay the fine. So he wrote fine time on this piece of paper to remind himself to go get it. And he thought, that's a good title.
That's right.
And since they don't seem to attach any meaning to the titles compared to the songs, I guess they all agreed. And so that's how it happened.
Yep. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Another story I picked up in one of the books, I forget if it was Barney's or Peter's, is that I think it was Peter's. The original lyrics for this song were about a tramp sitting on a bench.
Oh my gosh.
And as they were working on it, Barney didn't like them. Well, and he even though he wrote them, and he wanted to do something harder.
Okay. Well,
so he wrote new lyrics and then went in to record that. And these are the lyrics that we have are the new lyrics.
Okay.
And he ended up having trouble getting the vocal right. So he did it like 5 different times.
Wow.
And he just had a lot of trouble with it. And then they got it down. He left. And their mixer, Mike Johnson, lost count of which track was which. And he erased the track that Barney was happy with. So he realized what he did. And he told Peter, and Peter told everybody else, but nobody wanted to tell Barney.
No, I don't suppose.
So they let it go on for like a couple days. And then finally they had to tell him.
Oh.
And supposedly he got mad and left for a few days and then just came back and didn't really mention it. Like, didn't mention that he had gone away in a fit of rage and they just redid it.
Well, so they did redo it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
This is one of the songs that, as I get ready for this, I always read along on Google Lyrics or whatever with the songs.
Yeah.
And I realized I didn't know a lot of these lyrics.
Yes, I have the exact same note. I said, I never knew all the words to this song. And when I looked up the lyrics, I couldn't believe when I read some of them.
Yep. So there's one line that I think is probably one of the ones that you thought was crazy.
Yeah.
But I never met a girl with all her own teeth.
Yup.
Yeah. I had no clue he said that.
No, because it's that spoken section that's in the really creepy voice.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I've met a lot of cool chicks.
Do you know who that voice is?
It's actually Bernie.
That's right.
Bernard.
But Hookie says that Bernard's wife, Sarah, mentioned years later that song was actually about her because Barney was impressed that she had never had a filling until she was 25 years old.
Hey, wow.
As a kid, she had really good teeth and she didn't need any really.
Hey, I think that's something we have in common, she and I.
Oh, that's cool.
I really don't have too many fillings in my teeth either. Anyway, fun fact.
And then there's one, I meant to write this down and I didn't.
Yeah.
There's a part and it's the line that gets repeated like 12 times.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
In the lyrics, it says something like the past doesn't matter or something like that.
That's what I've seen. Yeah. The past doesn't matter.
I don't hear that at all.
Well,
I listen to that and I don't hear that at all.
I can hear it.
I don't.
I saw a lot of things where they were like, well, maybe it's like Acid Man. But I think the definitive answer is that it is the past doesn't matter. I
can't make that out.
Okay, I can. I mean, I never heard it until I saw what somebody said. I didn't know what they were saying. It was just nonsense to me. Yeah, the past doesn't matter. I kind of like that, though. I like that idea. But the words in this song are just so ridiculous. I mean, that's why I love you, babe. You got all your own teeth.
Yeah.
But I like that. It's about as high of a standard as the singer in the group Saint Motel sings this song, Just My Type. It was out real big last year. Mm-hmm. And that has a funny line in it, too, that I wanted to mention. You're just my type. You've got a pulse and you are breathing. Nice. Yeah, same. So this Bernie loves the woman because she's got all her own teeth. This other guy likes because she's got a pulse. And
yep.
I don't know, just kind of like, well, it's a dance song.
Now, I know you were always a fan of the frog noises in their song A Perfect Kiss. So what did you think about the sheep noises on this song?
Oh, they're funny. And I don't know if this is true, but I did read, in fact, I don't think it's true, but I saw on a couple of web pages that they said that they were used as a joke, as a tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact that this was an acid track and that was something that everybody was doing at the time. So it was kind of like sheep following the flock.
Oh, really?
But I disagree with that because I honestly think that New Order were leading the way in this sound at the time and not following the flock. So I don't really know why they put it it in there, but I have no problem with it because they just do random weird things like that.
Yeah, they do.
And it's at the end, and it's fine. So what do you think of him?
Of the sheep?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
Okay.
I like it better than the frogs.
Yeah, yeah.
And is there another animal sound that they used?
In any other song, you mean? Like at all?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're putting me on the spot here. I don't know.
I think that there is, and I can't
It's not.
think of what it is.
Yeah, maybe someone can, I'd say call in, but that isn't a live show.
Yeah,
so.
someone call in
Caller?
on the hotline.
Yeah, the hotline.
All right, so you mentioned before that Hookie called this a sequencer tour de force, or you, that the
I
sound,
didn't
or no, you
say
mentioned that he was
that.
battling a sequencer.
Yes, yes.
Hookie calls this a sequencer tour de force, and he's right.
Okay.
And like I mentioned, though, unlike a lot of songs that we've mentioned in the past, I think that everything going on in this song kind of hurts it. And some of the sections of this song are not easy on the ear, and that's not helped by the fact that this is not the most pleasant of vocal melodies to listen to in the first place. What Barney is singing is not a
well, there's not much of a melody in it.
yeah, right. That's
There's
part of the
nothing
problem.
to-
Where's the melody, Barney?
Where is the melody? Well, it's lost. It's not as important to the song as all the other sounds. That was not the focus of this song.
No me gusta.
Okay. Well, I will say as far as the vocals, I think his voice, for all my complaints about him, he sounds good on this album, and I like how he starts the song with the growl. That is so aggressive and unlike him, and very surprising. But then in the next line, he's already to be a part of me, kind of gets whispery.
Yep.
He drops it down right away. I think he has a very good control of his voice in this song. Having said that, I am not a fan of the creepy low voice that is in there. I think that's a little...
The Barry White section.
Is that what you call it?
I think that's what Peter Hook calls it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it is a little creepy, a little off-putting, but it doesn't prevent me from enjoying the song.
Barney is a very good singer on this album. I don't think he's a very good singer on this song, but I think he's a good singer on the rest of the album. He's much better than he was on any previous New Order album. And the frustrating thing is I was watching live clips of some of the performances of this song, and it doesn't fully transfer over to his live performance. He's way better than he was 5 years before when he seriously couldn't carry a tune.
No, he could not.
But he just sounds so good here, and he didn't quite get to that level live. Let's talk about just a couple things in the song that I do like.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I like the drum machine work. The drums are very cool.
Yeah.
They sound great. They sound fake. And the electronic bass at the beginning, I like that keyboard voice a lot. At the 1:16 mark, there are some synthetic strings that come in and sound very disco-y. Like that. That's really great. As always, Peter Hook's live bass part, we hear it around 1:30. That is the New Order sound.
Okay.
And here in this song, we barely get any of it. So when it does show up, I appreciate it very much. And then at 3:05 or so, we get a keyboard riff that I really like, and it's this. I like that part a lot.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me almost of a clarinet, I think.
Oh, yeah. And then Peter Hook comes in at the end again with a bass line.
Right.
That doesn't even sound like a bass. I love... That's one of the great things about these sequencer songs, where Barney doesn't want Peter Hook to be on them. Barney is providing a bass himself with all these synthesizer basses, and Peter comes in and he does crazy things with his bass guitar that it's not even bass.
No, I know. I've always thought that on this... I mean, a lot of his work but especially, on this album, it's like, this is a bass, really?
Yeah. I don't know anybody else who treats the bass the way he does. It's like in his mind, it's the most important instrument on stage, I think. And he, because of that, he plays it differently than anybody.
Yeah, it's very melodic, I think. But I like his, what contributions there are of his on this song, I think are very good.
Yeah.
But, I really like this song. I don't mind the fact that there's so much going on. I generally like when there's like lots of layers to a song. I think this is one of the greatest dance songs of the decade. I think it's like Situation, but it's kicked up a notch in tempo and intensity. It's 125 beats per minute. And
don't even mention the song in the same sentence as Situation.
I think it's a fantastic dance song. And that's just from experiencing it from a non-enhanced or altered state of mind. So I'm just imagining if you're under the influence of something, as I'm sure that they were. I love how much is going on in this song. And, it starts off with those synths that sound like horns or alarms that just really catch your attention. That's why you heard me upstairs looking on YouTube for alarm sounds. I was
I just heard like weird sound effects coming from upstairs today.
I'm sure there's something out there in the world that sounds like this. I couldn't find anything in the quick search I did, but to me it just sounds like an alarm, very, urgent sounding. And the frenetic drum beats and the percussion that we get in here just adds to that.
Here's what I don't like about this song. I don't like the lyrics. I don't like the vocals. I don't like the melody. I don't like all the musical stuff going on in the first verse. It's way too much. I don't like the Barry White voice. And I don't like around 2 minutes and 42 seconds when we get 12 iterations of what Google tells me is the past doesn't matter.
Okay. See, that doesn't bother me. Again, I think of this as a dance track. I think of this as like finding a perfect place in a club, and it is a club song. It is something you would hear in a club. It would fit just right in there. I don't have a problem with it.
Now, I'm sort of exaggerating how much I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'd never skip this song.
No.
But this is the first time really in the show that I've had really negative feelings about a song.
That's crazy.
So I'm just sort of embracing it a little bit.
Yeah, you're just kind of rolling with it because it's such a new and novel idea for you.
Yeah.
And especially because you've gone on about how great you think this album is, and for it to start off with something that you're not that fond of, yeah, that's a pretty big surprise.
I know. Here's the mystery, everybody. Is this song going to keep me from giving this album the 5-star review that you know I'm going to give it? We'll have to wait and see.
I don't know.
Let's talk. Do you have more about the song, or can we talk about the video?
Let's go on to the video. The video is weird.
Much like most other New Order videos,
yeah,
I hate this video.
Okay.
And from reading their books and things, I know that they think their videos are very clever, that they don't appear in them normally.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they would have to admit that, these videos, these strange videos like this that they don't appear in, that make little sense, they don't sell the songs as well as a more traditional clip would.
Yeah.
I think that this song, what did this song hit 11? Number 11?
Yeah, I think so.
If they had appeared in the video or made a better video, it would have peaked at number 7. That's a fact.
Oh, a fact, is
Yep.
it? It's not a legend?
Nope.
All right.
So this video, it's just a young boy and his dog in bed next to a Christmas tree.
Yep, the dog's chained up to the bed.
And the boy's tossing and turning.
Yeah.
And then a pill floats by, I guess it's ecstasy.
A capsule. Yeah. And that's a kind of a tie-in with the image on the single cover, because it was just a whole bunch of purple pills with the yellow background.
Yeah. And so then I guess the little boy gets high because he sits there kind of hugging his legs and
yeah, he
weird.
kind of acts really strange.
And then he runs over and starts opening Christmas presents. So a few of those Christmas presents have like a bright light inside the box.
Right, yeah.
And to be honest, I kind of zoned out. I caught myself like not even watching it, but I think those presents had women in them. Like there were...
Well, yeah, there were some very interesting images. There were some women. There were some other things that were happening. It really started getting kind of spacey and almost psychedelic at that point when he was opening the presents.
So were those things inside the boxes?
Well, I think some of them were, and then I think some of them were just kind of happening, maybe as he was experiencing the opening of the presents. But yeah, it's a little bit hazy, uncertain what was going on there.
So, and then eventually he just goes back to bed.
Yeah. I don't think I'd ever seen that video before researching it and watching it for the podcast. I definitely don't remember it. And it's really odd, besides the concept of it, I think it looks a lot older than it really is. I think that it looks like it was filmed many years prior to 1988. I think it reminds me of The Walk by The Cure, just because it's just like all black all around the rest of it, except for the little scene that we're seeing. And it's very stark and
and there's no like background. Like
no, there's nothing else
going on. The boy in the tree you can see, but you can't see the room that they're in.
And that's how it is in The Walk. And that just put me in mind of that, which is from 1983. So 5 years later, we've got this video that really, it isn't any better, and I think The Walk's a lot more interesting.
Oh, yeah, The Walk's a lot better.
But, yeah, so this guy that directed it, Richard Heslop, he did a lot of other stuff later on. I think this is kind of early on in his career as a video director. He did Ebenezer Good by The Shaman and Spooky by New Order, Take Me Away by Babel.
Oh, wow.
He did Mint Car by The Cure, and Don't Say Your Love Is Killing Me by Erasure.
Oh, wow, man, those are all good songs.
Yeah. And the kicker, I've saved this for last for you.
All right.
In 1996, he was commissioned by Queen to direct a film for the track I Was Born to Love You on the Queen Made in Heaven compilation.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, so he redeemed himself later, I think, but this is not his best work.
No, this is not. New Order has a few videos I like. Perfect Kiss, Touched by the Hand of God, 60 Miles an Hour, and Confusion are ones that immediately popped into my head.
Okay.
And 3 of those they appear in, so I guess that's when I like their videos, when they appear in it.
Yeah.
60 Miles an Hour, I think somebody like gets attacked by a bear and like funny things happen.
Oh, really?
Like the song just stops so characters can have dialogue and stuff, so I kind of like that.
Okay.
But this video is very boring. I think it's trying to simulate an ecstasy trip with the clip, and I don't really care.
Yeah, and it's just, I think he's much too young to be representing that.
Yeah, no, it made,
it
was kind of discomforting.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that brings us up to song number 2.
Okay.
And this is a song called All the Way.
Wow.
I like how you volunteered to be the first person to speak, and then you took a big mouthful of water.
I know. Well, it was either that or go. Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. So after a super electronic dance song, we immediately switched to the other style of New Order, the guitar style, the rock song. And boy, isn't this just a lovely little guitar song? It's got that signature Peter Hook bass. It's got some really nice jangly style guitar, which really puts me in mind of the Smiths. Probably.
The Smiths.
Yeah, the Smiths, like Johnny Marr. Yeah. Which.
Jangly guitar, yeah. But
Yeah.
I saw so much stuff online about this song comparing it to The Cure.
Well, I won't agree. I won't disagree there, because some of those strings that we get after the first verse, we get some nice oboe-like synths, and those strings totally sound like The Cure to me. Mm-hmm. And even though this is a different style of song, I don't feel that we lose any of the energy that we got from Fine Time. This is also, I think, it feels like a fast song.
Yeah, it's still pretty up-tempo.
Yeah. The melody, it's kind of sing-songy, certainly easier to sing along with than Fine Time.
This is a great melody.
Mm-hmm. It's simple, but that's not unusual for a New Order song, and it's very catchy, and especially the chorus. And I cannot say enough good things, and I'm sure you'll be happy to hear this, about Peter Hook's bass lines.
My man.
They're just so distinctive. They feature so prominently, especially in this song. I guess on this album, he was complaining that he was mixed down a lot more in overall. But I think in this song, he sounds just fine. And he's very talented. So, I think this is just a really pleasant sounding song.
Yeah, they couldn't have mixed him out of this song. Like, he has to be there in this song.
Right, yeah. And he shows up early on, and it's good.
Judging from the stuff I was reading about this song, I did focus a little bit here early in my notes about how much people think this song sounds like Just Like Heaven by The Cure.
Oh, okay.
And it made me laugh. There was a write-up on the BBC website from this time period mentioning that New Order seemingly had entered into a weird battle trying to out-cure The Cure.
Oh, that's funny.
And points to this song and another on side 2 as evidence of that. And it just sort of made me think there is like a weird relationship between the two bands. And I'm not really sure why, because they don't have, like, I don't know, I can't think of anything that really links them. They came up at the same time period and they had the same career path sort of, but I don't know what the link is. The bass on In Between Days, I listen to that and I can say, like, hey, they're trying to sound like Peter Hook.
Okay.
And one of the Cure's biggest hits starts with the words, "I don't care if Monday's blue."
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember a long time ago, I read an interview with Robert Smith who said something that I never understood. I still don't understand it. But he said that people thought New Order were making fun of heavy metal bands with their video for Touched by the Hand of God. But in truth, they were having a poke at The Cure.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know why he thinks that.
I don't know where he gets that from.
I don't understand that.
I think he misinterpreted that.
But
you know what? As we're talking about this and I'm thinking about the Cure songs, I think they kind of have a dual sound as well. I think they have a very guitar sound in some of their songs and then a very synth keyboard oriented sound.
Oh yeah, they do. They have an album called Wild Mood Swings because it's so all over the place.
Right.
They try to turn that into a strength for the album because there's no connecting theme.
Yeah, so
on Wild Mood Swings.
So in that respect, it's kind of easy to draw a connection between the two bands because they do have this dichotomy, and yet they make it work, and they have done for many years.
Oh yeah. But to me, for this song, All the Way, the most notable thing about it isn't the fact that it kind of sounds like The Cure. The most notable thing is that this is a beautiful song, and it's so much better than what preceded it on the record. Peter Hook sounds great working his way through this song. Bernard's jangly guitar work is so pleasing to the ear, and even better when the keyboards come in after the first set of choruses. Mm-hmm. So I call this song beautiful, and it is beautiful, but it's not beautiful. I don't mean it the same way that I said last week that Queen, Who Wants to Live Forever, is a beautiful ballad.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it, but using this bouncing bass line, some very well-produced guitar strums, and a very intelligently selected keyboard voice, and the melody line, which is gorgeous as well and easy to sing. This track, which could have just been, a perfectly fine second song on the album, it seriously fills me, I've said this before, it fills me with happiness hearing this song. There's like a joy to this song, and I'm being totally serious.
Yeah, no.
It's not overwhelming. Like, I'm not sitting here grinning like a lunatic.
Yeah.
But I think if you love music and you open yourself to this song, seriously, it's going to affect you. You'll be affected by what you hear. You're going to feel it in your chest. You might fight back a little bit of emotion, but this is brilliant, honest songwriting, I think.
Yeah. It's much less, I would say, superficial than the first song on the album.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the full, crisp sound that they get to the track with the production work. And it's a much simpler song than Fine Time. It's only verses and choruses without much variation, but it just is more focused and it sounds so good. And like some of the other songs we're going to talk about on this record, I hear like a folk influence on this, which is surprising. I was really surprised by it. I remember when I first got the album. Mm-hmm. It took me a little while to realize how much I liked this song simply because I was like, what did I buy? I thought I was buying a synthesizer dance album.
Yeah. This song is like typical college radio of the 80s because it's got these meaningful lyrics and some jangly guitar. It's like very quintessential college radio, like the REM or even the Smiths or that kind of style, because these lyrics, I think, help to bring that feeling to the song as well. We're not talking about someone with a full set of teeth here. They have a wonderful chorus, wonderful, wonderful chorus. I love the words. It takes years to find the nerve to be apart from what you've done, to find the truth inside yourself and not depend on anyone. What intelligent lyrics those are. What a great sentiment. And especially for someone in the coming of age period, of their lives, you're like, oh man, so it'll be okay, huh? It'll be all right. We'll get through this and you'll figure out things and you won't need anybody else and it'll be okay.
Yep.
It's a really nice thought.
I wrote similar notes about lyrically that I like this track a lot. The chorus is really clever. Comments on how difficult it is sometimes to grow as a person.
Right.
To make a difficult but necessary change to your life. And I like how he's not really offering any advice on how to do it, but just letting you know that he knows what you're going through. And misery loves company, and knowing that you aren't alone could just make things a little bit easier.
Right. And because it's said and it's presented in this context of this very pleasant and bright sounding song, I think that also adds some reassurance to it, just kind of some comfort. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very well done song.
Yep. And then as I learned more about the band as the years went on, I also can see this could be him commenting on the transition between Joy Division and New Order.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I know that hit him really hard. Ian's suicide, and I think that took a long time to get past and grow into another band on its own. And yeah, that's a really good point.
When I look at the albums that came before this, Low Life and Brotherhood, I'm slightly amazed that they ended up creating a song that sounds like this. I don't see any evidence on those albums that tells the listener, stand by, one album from now you're going to get something that sounds like this. I don't see where this came from. It came out of nowhere, in my opinion, this sound. And I'm very happy that that did. I'm glad they found that they made it here. This is one of the first times to my ear that I really hear confidence in Bernard's vocals.
Yes.
Not the first time. I'd say the first time was probably True Faith.
Okay.
But I didn't hear it on Fine Time. And I do hear it here. Speaking of Bernard's vocals, in his book, Peter Hook states that the moment that someone explained to New Order that you can write music in a key that Bernard could actually sing.
Yeah.
Peter Hook sees that moment as a bad point for the band. He thinks that it took away an element of New Order that he liked. I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah.
Bernard was such a poor vocalist early on.
He was. He struggled so much, and it was painful to listen to.
Yeah.
And I think this and the next song, I think, and that's I have a note on this. Bernard's vocals are strong in this. They're right in his range.
Yep, right. That songwriting tip that they got, combined with the experience that Bernard got, over 5 years or whatever, eventually developed him into a pretty good singer. And I think there's such a change on this song and everything that came before.
Yeah, this album is probably some of his best vocal work of all.
Definitely up to this point.
Certainly.
All right, so that brings us up to song number 3 on side 1 of Technique, and this is a song called Love Less.
Liberty, I work hard to give you all the things that you need, and almost anything that you see. I'd spend a lifetime working on you, and you won't even talk to me. Can't you see? Why don't you look at me? It's not your right to be so much my enemy.
So much of what I said about All the Way, I feel I could probably say about this track.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a lot of repetition in as far as the comments we can make on these songs. I had a little trouble coming up with new and different things to say for this.
It's a song with, again, has a great bass, has some beautiful acoustic sounding guitar work.
Yes.
It's another catchy melody line and a pretty great vocal from Barney.
Yep.
And now where I'm hearing a folk influence again on this song, this song, Peter Hook says, is countrified.
Oh, countrified.
Yep.
Oh, that's strange because to me, it actually kind of almost sounds like Spanish or flamenco.
You think so?
Yeah, which I thought, well, that's reasonable because they were, off of the coast of Spain. But so he says countrified.
Yep. And he says that this song conjures up a great summer feel.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, of course, I agree with him on that.
But I do too. And I don't necessarily put this in my line of summer albums. I'm sure I did listen to it with you at that time, but I just think it does have a summer. It just sounds like you're driving in your car on a nice summer day and the clouds are out and I don't know, like it's sunny and warm and like I do think this could be a good driving song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not as good as Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Well, no. I have over the summer as I've heard that song as I'm out driving, I'm like, yeah, this is a great driving song.
So Peter Hook also tells a funny story about this song.
Oh, good.
In his book. He was at a park one day with his kids, and a guy walked by with a big boom box on his shoulder.
Oh, my gosh.
And Peter Hook says the most wonderful music was blaring out of it. So Peter Hook liked the sound of it so much that he ran after the guy and grabbed him on the shoulder and turned around and said, "Hey, who's playing, mate? What song is that?" Mm-hmm. and he says, the guy just went wide-eyed, and he finally said, "It's you, Hooky. It's Love Less off of Technique." But Peter Hook was so impressed by the sound of the song,
like he forgot that it was his
but he
own
didn't
music.
recognize it as their own song.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
Like he knew that guy knew him, and he was like,
it was back in Manchester, like his hometown, so
right.
Everyone knew who he was.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Like, he's like, "Are you setting me up for this?"
I know.
It's like, what? You just looking for praise here or something?
Yep.
Like, what is that awesome music you're listening to? Why, it's you.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So and this is a great song to sing along with, and it's one that will get stuck in your head if you listen to this record.
Yeah, especially the chorus. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I often find myself singing this song even when I haven't been listening to the record. I don't know what this is. Just a song that I'll often sing.
Oh, that's funny.
And the terrible thing is when I'm singing it, I don't know what I'm singing. I know it's New Order and I know it's off the Technique, but if someone said, like, what song are you singing?
Yeah, you're like, it's a New Order song.
I'm singing Love Less by New Order.
Yeah.
I don't know that. It's not in the lyrics. So.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think that I will say that the title kind of does go along with the concept of the lyrics because it's like about a doomed or failing relationship.
Yeah, right.
You know, he's trying to provide for the other person. The other person is unresponsive.
I like the lyrics, although I'm not sure I can follow all of them.
No, I have a little bit of trouble with some of them.
I really like the first two lines, which set the stage for the present of the song. Mm-hmm. When he says, "There was a time I called before when all I knew was what I saw." That's the period before the narrator had his eyes opened to what this person that he's singing to was really like. Mm-hmm. In the earlier time, all that they knew was what he saw.
Right.
And odds are he saw a very lovely looking person.
Right.
And that was before. In the now, he understands that this isn't a good person. He or she is uglier on the inside than they are on the outside.
Yeah. I happen to like the lines. I knew that I could never give. You knew that you could not forgive. No price or pride would fall before a 10-foot wall without a door. I think that's kind of cool. Just emphasizing the fact that this person is closing themselves off to the other person.
Yeah.
Just like doesn't matter what I do, I still can't get through.
Right. And I like the frustration that you get through the words in the chorus when he says it's not your right to be so much my enemy.
Right.
I think he's saying that the person that he's addressing doesn't have the right to consider the narrator to be such an enemy because the narrator has only ever done good things.
Yeah, like where are you coming from with this vibe, this sentiment?
Right.
All I've done for you.
I've worked hard to give you everything you need.
Yeah.
And everything that you want. If anyone should be angry in this situation, it's the narrator.
Yeah.
And, that's the person who was used and taken advantage of. But I like that thought, it's not your right to be such an enemy. I should be the one who decides that we're enemies.
And even though I didn't see anything about this, and we're going to talk about this more in the next song, having discussed this with you right now, I'm wondering if this does have anything to do with their relationship with Factory Records and Tony Wilson in general.
I don't know. I didn't see anything about it for this song either. Like you said, I did see it for the next song.
But certainly as we're talking about this relationship and it's doomed and it's failing and they're not communicating, I think that would certainly speak to that situation as well with the band and the record label.
True.
So I don't know.
I really like how clever the title of the song is. It's not loveless, it's love less.
Right.
As if the narrator is telling himself that in the future he has to give less love until he is more certain of the type of person that he's dealing with, so you don't repeat everything that he's lamenting in this song.
Okay, so it's like advice for himself.
Yeah, I think that's kind of clever.
Okay.
So earlier I mentioned in the Quietus article, the writer mentioned that there was only one brief section of the album that was extraneous.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's on this song.
Really?
It's the drone and the cough at the very beginning of the song. He says it's the only few seconds on the album that isn't crucial and can be cut
Well,
out without harming the album.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty funny as we are going through this podcast. And I know after we're done here, you were going to take great pains to remove all of those kinds of things from our
Exactly.
podcast, the throat clearing, the lip smacking, and etc. And they actually start the song with that. It's just
Yep.
it's so funny. It's just another kind of tongue-in-cheek thing that they want to do. As far as they add the crazy sounds of animals and
Yep.
just the random stuff.
And in the song that we mentioned, Every Little Counts, he actually cracks up while singing and leaves that in the vocal.
And I do love that about that song. I don't mind it. As we're talking about at the beginning of the song, something else I wanted to mention is that after that coughing and throat clearing, we get the exact same 4 drum beats that start off the song Love Vigilantes.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Dun,
You're right.
Dun, dun. Now it's a slightly different tone. It's not like they sampled from that song,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's the same dun 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 dun. And it's funny because they both start with the words love, both songs.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's neat.
Yeah, but I heard it. I'm like, wait, that sounds exactly like. And I played them, and yeah, they're very, 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 very similar.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us up to Round and Round, which is song number 4 on the album. And it's probably going to be another one of these folky kind of
Well, it
acoustic
seems
guitar
like they're
songs,
going
right?
that direction, doesn't it?
Yeah, so let's take a listen.
Okay.
You think I am crazy, but what can I do? You waste your time like my money. It ain't so funny, but it's true. Don't waste my money, baby. Now you can't tell me what's going on.
Round and Round was released in February of 1989 and hit number 21 on the UK singles chart. It did a little better on the UK independent singles chart where it hit number 2. Here in the US, it actually did break the top 100 hot singles, peaking at number 64.
Whoa.
Not too good.
Yeah, I don't ever remember hearing this one on the radio.
I don't either, but like I said, I didn't hear anything.
But if I had been in the clubs, I suppose I would have heard it there.
In
because
the clubs, you definitely would have, as
Yeah.
it was a number 1 dance club hit and number 5 dance sales hit. It was a U.S. alternative rock number 6 song, and it broke the top 10 in Ireland.
Oh, look at you with the international aspect of it. I actually don't have anything on this song about where it went in the other countries. So good for you. I somehow missed that.
I just saw that it broke the top 10 there, so I made a note of it.
No, that's very good.
So the band wanted the song Vanishing Point to be the
Yes.
second single, but Tony Wilson, who was the chairman of their label, Factory Records, bet their manager, Rob Gretton, that this song would break the top 5 if it was released, or he would resign.
Oh,
So the song did not break the top 5, and he also did not resign.
a promise breaker. Well, yeah, and I guess they even wanted Vanishing Point as the third single, and that still didn't happen. But that's for later on, I guess.
I probably would have told them to release this track as the first single because I think it is so much better than Fine Time. Looking back, I think you must have had to have heard Fine Time in the context of the time period, maybe to fully appreciate it. I can hear how it could have been well received in the era of raves and ecstasy. But separated from the time, I think its shortcomings as a composition and vocal performances are noticeable, and that this song is just all around better in every regard.
Okay. Well, I can respect your thoughts on that. I can't necessarily argue. I do think that probably Fine Time is much more of its time than this song, but I still like it.
And like I admitted, I actually like it too. But I don't
know. You're just...
don't like it as much as most other things.
Yeah.
So this song, to me, it sounds like a classic high-energy synth pop tune. Even sitting here in 2017, I think it holds up much better. Right out of the gate, I love me some orchestra hits.
Yes, I said it starts off with orchestra hits galore.
Yep. So we've mentioned our love of orchestra hits in
love
past
them.
episodes, like
Yeah.
the Pet Shop Boys
Yeah.
and Dead or Alive.
Yep.
So we get some more of that action here. And
yes, in
awesome.
abundance, and it's just wonderful.
Yep.
And again, it gives that urgent and energetic sound, that feel right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. So once again, we get some awesome rhythm section work here. There's some great synth bass and some great drum machine action. And once again, it's no surprise, I guess, at this point, but we get a really catchy melody line from Barney. Tons of fun to sing along with the song.
Yeah.
And it's easy to sing.
Yes. It's one of those, it's probably deceptively simple.
Yeah. The second verse introduces a great counter melody line that's played on like a bell sounding synthesizer behind Barney singing. And that part has always stood out to me as being really good. I love the sound of that.
Yeah, it's very nice, a nice touch.
Yep. And that second verse is also awesome.
Yeah.
When Barney does his own backing vocals.
I have that. I know. He backs himself up and with the I do, and don't waste my money, baby. That's such a nice touch. It's something you don't expect, and it's a nice addition.
Yeah, you don't expect it because it's not really something that they do often.
No.
A call and response kind of thing like that.
No.
And it sounds really good.
It does.
And then Peter Hook shows up every now and again in this one and really helps to make the song fit with the previous two, which we have heard. Musically, it's so different than what we've just heard. It could really stand out. But like we said earlier, I think Peter Hook is sort of the bridge that connects everything.
Yeah, I said he sets up shop in this one early on. He does get kind of toned down in the verses, but he's still there, and he definitely comes back in the chorus. And then after the choruses, we get some really wonderful low bass from him there, and I'm wondering if he's using his 6-string bass in that instance, because there's some really low notes that he's producing they're really cool. Yeah, this song is just great. I really, really like this song. I love the chorus. I think the chorus as a whole, as a piece of music altogether, is just amazing. We've got some synthesized bass. We've got Peter Hook winding in and out of there. We've got these little percolating synths popping here and there. The drums are excellent.
Yeah, they are.
I love there's a lot of really great drum roll sequences in there. And I love the tom-toms. Lots of tom-toms and lots of little rolls with the tom-toms. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, I think Steve Morris was having a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he kills it on this one. And so I love how after the vocals of the chorus, and we get Peter Hook's bass highlighted along with some more excellent percussion. And I really think that this is one of the best choruses in all of synth pop. I think it's pretty much perfect.
Wow.
I know. I'm not usually one to give such high praise on things, but if you listen to just that chorus and you listen to all the pieces and parts of it, it's just a nice, really well put together package of music, vocals, percussion, just everything fits so well. And it's easy to sing along to.
Yeah, it is.
So there's just so many good things about it.
The chorus is good. I think I am probably more into the verses than the chorus. I just like that second verse with the "Don't take my money, baby." I really like that.
Yeah, I think it's such a departure in what we're used to in his singing. That it's great. I do like it too. I can't say it's bad at all.
Yeah, this is the first song on the record that I loved, and I loved it immediately. I got the tape because I liked Mr. Disco, and I wanted more songs like that. So I liked the songs before it, but I was kind of confused. I was kind of confused by him. Mr. Disco was all synths and dance stuff, and I was like, that's sort of what I wanted. Right. And then this song came on, and I was like overjoyed. I was like, this is this is what I wanted.
Yeah, this is much more like what you're used to and what you want. Can I just mention one more thing about the vocals and the lyrics to this song?
Sure.
I love, and I think you do too, the line where he says, "I don't care about what you do, because if you mess with me, I'll get rid of you." You can almost hear him sneering as he sings that last bit. I think his delivery in that line is just fantastic. I think he really brings some emotion to his vocal performance there that you don't expect. And it's I think his vocals are really good on this song. The backing vocals and that little bit there is great.
Yeah, he has always, I thought, been pretty successful with getting emotion across, not every sort of emotion, but kind of like dislike or
he's good with the negative ones.
Any kind of emotion that you would sneer during. He's good at.
If you just listen to it where he's like, "I'll get rid of you," it just sounds just really like sniping kind of.
Yeah. There's a lot to this song, much like Fine Time, and here I think it blends really well. I think everything works together. But there's two different basses here again, the synth bass and Peter's bass. I think that all works well. And Peter says at this point, Bernard was trying to do everything he could to get the live bass out of the song. But even though there is that great synth bass and this is an electronic song, I think that completely excluding Peter Hook would have been a mistake. What he plays sounds so good and adds much to the flavor. I can't imagine this track being as good without him.
No, I completely agree. I think that would have been a mistake to mix him any lower or to take him out of the song, especially like in the chorus. But yeah, he's in there, like I said, right from the get-go, and you lose his presence a little bit in the verses, but he's still there. You can hear it, and I think it does add to the sound. I mean, that's part of the New Order sound is his bass. So if you lose that, then you lose. It's not necessarily as much of a New Order song anymore.
Yeah, it would have been an electronic song.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty much.
So Barney has said that although it didn't start out this way, we mentioned earlier, alluded to this, this song ended up being about their relationship with the manager of their record label, Tony Wilson.
Right.
He said the frustration that he was feeling with Tony at the time ended up being channeled into the writing of this song,
Yes, indeed.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, hey, it's good that you can express your feelings in music and do it so well and make it, so palatable for everyone else.
Yep.
I love the end of this song, how it has that phased sound and then those kind of crashing drums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like a really cool sound, and I think it's a great way to end the song. And I honestly think this would have been a great way to end side one. I think this could have been the last song on side one and would have been perfect.
I don't know what to think about that.
Okay.
I don't disagree with it strongly at all or anything.
Yeah, well,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
sure.
You don't have to have a particular opinion.
It's funny that you like the end with those, because on the single version that doesn't happen. That
Right.
gets cut
No,
out.
there's a lot of differences. Well, there's so many mixes and versions of this song. One of them being the song on the video,
Right.
which is different.
And that's a remix by Stephen Hague, who produced True Faith.
Right.
And produced the Pet Shop Boys' first 2 albums, and Erasure, The Innocent. We've talked about him before.
Yeah.
So they brought him in and he remixed the single. And he changed some things around. The
Yeah, he
instrumental section in the middle is different.
And there's more
And-
strings in the background during the verses.
Yeah. The album version is
And-
more focused, to me, it's more focused on the rhythm section. The drums and the bass.
Yeah.
And he came in and added
more like keyboards.
Keyboard.
Yeah. Something else in that vocally that's different. Did you notice?
No, I did not.
In the chorus, Bernard is actually not only backing himself, but he's providing harmony. There's harmony in that chorus.
Really? On the single version?
Yeah, and definitely the video version, which is the same.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I hearing? But it's there. It is there, and it's like astonishing to me.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Barney says that version is his favorite version of the song.
Oh, maybe. Well, he sounds good on it, but I still like those phasing sounds and the crashing drum beats at the end. I don't actually like all those. I like strings and keyboards and stuff, but I think they do a little overdo it in that version. I'm just used to the album version.
Yeah, I am too. So let's talk about that video.
Okay.
It probably shouldn't take too long.
No,
This is another terrible video.
that's stupid. It's like, what's the point?
It very much reminded me of those Andy Warhol screen tests.
Oh, yeah.
Films that he would do.
Right.
It's just like a black and white camera right in the face of somebody.
Right. Yeah.
And they just look at the camera and sort of
Yeah.
move or react
Yeah.
how they naturally would.
Right.
And then occasionally it just cuts really quickly to a split second of something very colorful, like
Right.
a fruit being cut with a knife or a marble or a
Yeah.
pool ball or something.
Yeah.
And then goes back right away to the black and white.
It's almost like it's trying to be a subliminal message or
Right.
something.
And the black and white parts are screen tests of just like 7 or 8 different women, just from like the shoulders up.
Yeah.
And they just kind of look at the camera.
Yeah.
And, it's a terrible video, but I like it better than Fine Time simply because,
Well,
I
at
would
least
rather
the
look,
ladies
I
are
would
pretty
rather
to look at.
attractive women than
Yeah.
look at a little kid getting stoned.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things that is rumored, although I couldn't find anything in a book or online that said it was true, is that one of the women in the video is Bernard Sumner's wife, Sarah.
Yeah. I heard that or read that too, but nobody knew who she was.
Yeah, I saw
Either
a page
way,
that
I don't know.
It did list like who 4 of the women were,
Yeah.
but it left like 3 or 4 unaccounted for.
Yeah.
So, but I don't really know.
Yeah, it's kind of a pointless video to me.
Yeah.
It's just like it doesn't mean anything. You don't need it.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing to be talking about a great 80s album and not have any good videos to discuss.
Yeah, I know.
We always have so much fun talking about the videos, even if we're just kind of making fun of them.
Oh, right.
It's
Yeah,
fun to like recap them and tease
Right.
things in them.
Yeah, and you think especially this late in the video era, it's 1988, 89 here, and we've gone through almost a decade of MTV, and this is the best they can do? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
It is. But you know what? What's not disappointing, this is probably my favorite New Order song.
Oh, wow.
Period. Of their
Wow.
entire
Okay.
career. It's so danceable. It has a great melody.
Yeah.
Awesome Peter Hook presence, great keyboard riffs and voices, wonderful percussion and drums, high energy, and orchestra hits, like we mentioned.
Yes.
And as I say this, I understand the implications of me saying this is my favorite New Order song because someone will hear that and sneer at me.
Well,
What about Blue Monday?
What about it?
It's better than Blue Monday, folks. I know that we're supposed to say that Blue Monday is the greatest song in the history of all dance music.
Oh, really?
I'd rather listen to this song.
Yeah, I think it's a more interesting song. I think I'm always, like I said, a fan of songs with lots going on, and this definitely has a lot
sure
going
does.
on. I think it's very well put together. It's in my top 3 or 5. It's not my very favorite.
Okay.
I think maybe Bizarre Love Triangle is my favorite.
I know
but-
that's your favorite.
Yeah, I know. But that's just me. But this is definitely up there. I think it is a very well put together song, a really great dance track. Like I said, it's got about a perfect chorus. So, I mean, obviously, I think very highly of it.
Yeah. So 80s fans, don't turn your back on me. I love Blue Monday.
Oh, yeah.
I do think it's awesome.
It's still a fantastic song.
I just think I like this one better.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yep. So here's what we're going to do, folks. We were going to attempt to try to manipulate this record so we get 2 episodes out of it that are of equal length.
Okay.
So we were just going to handle the first 4 songs on side 1, stop, and then next week we'll come back, finish side 1, do side 2, which only has 4 songs, and then we'll evaluate the record. I thought that would keep each episode at around an hour.
Yeah.
Right now it's telling me we've been talking for an hour and 32 minutes.
Okay, so this is definitely a good place to stop.
So what you hear, you probably won't have to sit through an hour and 32 minutes of us because we're going to edit things out and, correct some things. So hopefully it's going to be much shorter.
But even still.
But still, it's going to be a little longer. So we hope you don't mind and we hope you enjoy this discussion on New Order. It's a great record and we're interested in what you think. On our Facebook page, there's always each episode. We have a link to each individual episode and we'd love for you to log in, chime in, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we've got the website, which has an option for emailing us, and then there's Twitter, which you can't say as much, but hey, anything counts.
Everything counts in large amounts. And speaking of Twitter, I'm trying to do a better job with the Twitter account. I can do Facebook pretty well because I'm loquacious. It's hard for me to edit things and make them precise, so I'm trying to work on Twitter, and we have picked up a few followers there. If you're on Twitter and you haven't followed the show, feel free to. We're trying to do some stuff there as well, and we'd be honored to have you
amongst our followers.
And
yes.
We will, of course, follow you in return. So I guess that's all for this week.
Yeah. Well, as I've said, I think this is a great way to end the album.
You did.
The first side.
Yeah,
so
you did. So let's
just end the episode here too.
Let's enforce that policy here.
Okay.
So we will catch you. You know what? Next week, guys, I know in the UK this weekend you're on bank holiday.
Oh, all right.
Next weekend here in the US we have a holiday.
Okay.
Labor Day?
Yes, we do. It is Labor Day.
So odds are we have, the good intentions are to do a show next week, but odds are probably we won't get that show out for next week.
We've got to leave him hanging.
In 2 weeks, we'll catch you probably with part 2 of New Order. So everybody have a great week and we'll talk to you soon.